Greetings and welcome to the Sacred State Oracle. Today I'm doing a timeless reading. So whenever you found this video, it's just perfect. I don't know what this reading is going to be about, but let's find out. I was going to say, but my intention is always to bring more clarity for your highest good, and not only through the channeled messages, but through the voice itself, through the vibration of my voice, to bring healing, clarity, deprogramming, and things like that into your life. So that sounds good to you. Let's dive in. I'm going to use this deck here and see what do you guys need to know today. If you found this reading, let's see what it's gonna be about. Spirit, what do they need to know? And before I even finished it, before I even finished asking that question, this card jumped out. Oh, and we want another one. Okay. There we go. So for you, if you're new to this channel, I am reading intuitively and reading the energy that comes from the card. And right now I am tuning into this card that says move. And what I feel like is conflictive. See, I can't even say that word. Energy, where it's one part wants to solve and one part wants to go. One part wants to stay and one part is like, no. It feels like there is this conflict that needs to be addressed. And sorry, it was just funny. I giggled because, not that your situation is funny, I giggled because I was doing a reading before and I really wanted to do a relationship reading, and then I started talking about this and the spirit is like, you wanted to do a relationship reading, there you go. So what I feel is like your love is in your hands, yours and your partner's, and depending how you solve this conflict right now, you're either going to be going and growing closer, or you're going to go into the opposite direction, or you're going to be building that coldness in between you, that becomes at one point something that pushes you away because you become colder to one another. So this is the energy I'm picking up from this card, that again, depending how you solve this, you're either going to be welcome this love, welcome more of growth and connection and warmth, or is it going to be more of like, and only you can tune in and decide what's the best, where you at. So let's see what else is going to show up, right? This is interesting because this card is challenging times, but it came in reverse when I pulled a card number 5. So it's like you're moving past these challenging times. You're moving past because this conflict has been maybe not the first time it showed up, but it's one of those arguments you have that are big one, right? It's a biggie. It's a biggie. It's really something that, not like every day where someone came home after having a stressful day and then snap on each other at another person, at your partner, and whatever, the next day you knew everything's fine. This is like a big one. You might be experiencing some challenging time prior to that, and some of you, I feel that behavior was because you've been very protective of your life, of your boundaries, of your inside, but maybe even a little bit to the point of not open enough to hear another person, opinion, another's person point of view, how they saw it, and so that led to more misunderstanding, because sometimes that could happen when we are so, you know, closed in a way. We don't want to hear something, and a lot of times it triggers those wounds of being rejected. It's harder to take feedback because we view it as a criticism, we view it as a personal attack. I remember in some instances where I just wanted to share how it made me feel, like the action of another, how it made me feel, but they might look at it and hear it more as almost like personal attack, which is not what it was. And vice versa, I remember where someone would share something which if it was like a friend sharing that, I would be like, oh yeah, makes sense. But because it's someone you care about, all of a sudden, become more vulnerable to their feedback and more vulnerable to how they view us, right? Because like example that comes to my mind is that if I had colored hair and someone says, or even like a whatever, and someone on the street looked at me and said, I don't like your haircut or whatever, and I'd be like, whatever, your opinion, and I moved past it and it wouldn't ruin my day. But then you come home with your new haircut or color and your loved one says, what did you do? Well, maybe not like that, then I'll probably be upset. But if they said, oh, I don't like it, then you think, oh my gosh, you don't like it, blah blah blah, and it can grow and it can hurt you way way deeper, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. So before I start like blubbering for longer, let's see what else we want to find out about your conflict and relationship. Spirit, what do they need to know about this conflict? What is the energies? Oh, what's the energy of the other person they're having conflict with? Door to spirit, but closed. So they are a little bit disconnected from their intuition and from their higher self. There might be a person who is not open to more of like a spiritual aspect of life. There might be more focused on like this life, this world, this everyday earthly experiences. So they're not, looking at the bigger picture. They're having a harder time to look at the bigger picture, and they're not as aware of the other realms. So it might be very, very like, like if someone has a belief, for example, that we come here as souls or consciousness and we'll learn different things and we'll learn how to grow, how to overcome, how to basically be connected more with love and channel it through us, and evolve more like as a soul, then we might look at our challenges and conflicts as opportunities to grow. We might be more prone to like, maybe prone is not a good word, more to like ponder and be like, interesting, let me hear the other side of the story, right? Where if someone does not have that awareness or belief, they might be taking things way too literally, where they might be being more in victimhood mode, where like, you are against me, and so they are more, maybe I want to say restricted to be open up and collaborate. So it's almost like you want to uplift, but they bring it down because they're not open to those things. Is there any other way that they feel? Let's see what they think also. Like maybe one more card on what their energy is like, how they see this conflict. Oh, okay, 2 cards wanted to. Broken-hearted over it. Woman holding a coin. So it could be that you're making more money than them, and that let me adjust cards, causing that conflict, causing that being a little bit more, wounded. Like there's a lot of energies of wounding and broken heart, and maybe they already had experience like that, and they're bringing something from the past, and that's why it's harder for them to solve this conflict and work with you and collaborate with you on coming to some kind of conclusion that is fair for both parties. And I see it's so interesting because like the card of broken heart showed up, and when I first saw this one, I felt like that. Like I felt like not very supportive energy towards one another. So that's why, remember when we pulled this card and we started talking about it, was a lot about this conflict that is surrounding your relationship. And my voices keep kind of cracking up and going away. Let me have some water here. So you guys maybe discuss this for a while. Maybe it's an ongoing topic, but it hasn't been very maybe moving to a place where you want it to be. Because I feel like you want to solve it. I feel like you want to collaborate and support and move with this person. But at some point it might be too hard to do that, because you cannot make anyone to feel or see things from your perspective unless they're open to it, unless they're willing to do it, unless they can be aware enough to understand your point of view in a higher picture. In the end of the day, that's it. Let's see what advice we can get for you when it comes to this conflict that you experience, this challenge. Let's see which deck wants to come out. Okay. Sorry guys, this deck is super active. I haven't worked with it in a while, and I'm coming back to doing the card readings, and a lot of times so many cards I'm holding it and literally my hands are vibrating. So let me see, and like actually my whole body now starting to tingle. Let me ground here for a moment. Spirit, what advice for a person here who experienced this conflict? What they need to know for the highest good. And remember, you always have a choice. You don't have to listen to the cards, obviously. They're reading and bringing the energy. So it is a current energy. But what you decide, you need to obviously tune in with your own personal guidance and see if this reading resonates or not. Speak up. Maybe that's why my throat was hurting or cracking, because maybe you're the opposite for what I was saying. Maybe you're not talking enough about this, or maybe not. You're afraid to hurt their feelings more and complicate and rock the boat, so you are not speaking up about what truly behind it. So the card says, what are you not saying that's eating you up inside? You can't keep this in forever. It's time to let it out so you can move on and be happy. Okay, so that is again resonating with this first card with move, right? So now the advice that's coming through for you, the invitation, is actually voice. Speak up about things that you want to. Are they unfair to you? Do you feel like they cross the boundary? Do you feel like they misunderstand? Do you feel like you're done trying to be dimming your light because you're making more money, dimming your light because you are so more maybe better with the money, maybe you're more successful in your career, maybe whatever that might be, right? Maybe you have not just the money, but maybe the value you put on yourself. No, that's not right. What I'm trying to say, the value you feel inside yourself, your confidence, your light, right? You feel it, and you try to be more you try to be less actually around them so that it does not trigger their insecurity, and that is not doing anybody's favor. And maybe you're fed up with that, and maybe you want to speak up. By speaking up, you can not necessarily voice it in person, although you can email, you can text, although sometimes texts come out wrong the way people read them. Either way, this is an invitation for you to communicate about the issue, about this conflict. And maybe it's the last conversation you guys going to have that will break or make, right? But I feel like you intuitively know, like you know that. And maybe you just need a little bit of courage to really tune in and see what's important for you. Because you know things like that are not easy. Things are that the changes are hard. But at some point, we have to realize, like, is this going to change? Or are you the one who is doing all the, or most of the work, and another person is just not ready to see it or understand? And either you're okay with it and you accept it, or you don't. And there's nothing else you can do about it, right? Is there anything else, Spirit, to conclude this reading? Do not be afraid, is what I just heard. Do not be afraid. There's more love for you from you. Like you, there's an invitation. What I'm reading right now is surround yourself with extra TLC. Okay. So while you're going through this conflict, it's eating you up emotionally, energetically, and it shows up physically for you too. So spend more time showing yourself some extra care and love. Do you need to take more time for yourself? Do you need to go pamper yourself? Do you need just quiet time? Maybe read a book, paint, whatever. Like how do you show love for yourself? Focus a little bit on yourself. After you speak up, maybe you already did, and you're waiting for respond from this person. And maybe that's, for some of you, that's what making you really not ease, right? Because you're waiting what they're gonna say. You're waiting if this is gonna be a place where you move forward, because you're both able to grow and see each other and be there for one another. Or you are just done at this point and it's time for you to move on and be happy. Is there anything else to add to this, Spirit? Should we pull one more card for you? Okay. One more advice from the same deck. One more advice for our people today, our person. Is there anything else you can do? Any other advice? Okay, what wants to come out? 2 cards. Move up. Your soul is whispering its deepest desires and truths to you. In the quiet moments, listen closely. It's guiding you towards your authentic path. Sorry, I can't read. I can't speak. I feel like exhaustion in my voice. And it might be what you feel like. It might be that you've been going over the same issue for quite some time, and it feels like there's nothing you can say or explain or relate to this person for them to understand where you're coming from, for them to understand how much it hurts you or how much it means to you, and you just want to have this reciprocity of effort and understanding and warmth and support from one another, because you obviously care about this person and you want this caring relationship together. And for some of you, it could be with your family member, is what I just heard. But because you've been like so focused on this person and their needs, and you trying to work it together with your needs, you might not be actually listening to the deeper truth. Or maybe for some of you, you just didn't want to accept those deeper truths, because let's just face it, sometimes it's hard when you know it's the end, right? The kitty cat. Discovery. New ideas, people, or opportunities may be see, I cannot, may be coming your way. While there is still work to do to reach your goal, you may discover new strength and passions along the way. Or, and the spirit just pointed out that you got two kitties, two black kitties, so that might be a sign for you as well. It might have a meaning to you. And what I feel when I was reading that card is that as you clear this energy, as you clear maybe this space around this issue, or even if you discover that maybe it's time to move in your own direction, as a cat, as an independent person, then you know how as you clear the space from old, something new comes in for you, because that is the nature of things. A lot of purple energy. Higher self, third eye, crown chakra. That's what I have to say about this reading. I thank you for tuning in. I'm sending you a lot of love and strength. Those are not easy times for anyone. But also, if this resonates, if you have something to share, feel free to leave a comment. And until next time, take care.